Thank you very much, Mr. Shumley, 932. Good to have you here tonight. When it comes to some of the issues that we face in our society, teen pregnancy and teen motherhood is up there toward the top because you have children basically having children, right? And what we wanted to be able to see is as many young people as possible not even get into the position to where they're pregnant in the first place. I don't want to see them decide once they get pregnant to go ahead and abort their child. Want them to have them, and at the same time, once they have them, to do the very best they can by them and ultimately for themselves as well. There's a book out called ABCs for Mommy. It's part of the Young Parenting series, and with me tonight is Juliann Mangino. Actually, yes, she is related to me, and I'm proud to say that. Julie, welcome to KDKA. Good to have you on tonight.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you very much. This book, ABCs for Mommy, why did you decide this book was necessary?
Well, I work in the field of teen parenting. I'm a teen parent counselor for the Lawrence County School Districts. I work for the Midwestern Intermediate Unit 4. And I've done that for the past 9 years. And so that was a big influence on writing the book. But also a big influence was my doctoral dissertation. In 2008, I earned my doctorate degree through University of Pittsburgh. And during that study and the research, it was apparent to me that the young parents really needed a good motivating factor in order for them to graduate high school, but not only graduate, to move on and continue to write goals and reach goals throughout their lives as parents.
Is it fair to say that teen moms aren't typically exposed to structure and organization and guidance that we would naturally assume for those that don't happen to be in that situation?
No, that would not be fair to say because, again, teen parenting, it falls through all socioeconomic status and races, and so it probably would not be fair to say that, at least in my experience. And like I said, I've done this for quite a few years and touched a lot of few lives and students in the process. But what it was is that a lot of the teen parents and young parents, even those that are, say, 20, 22, but young parents, gets resources they need. They get it through their doctor's offices. They get it through home visiting nurses, social services. If they want help, they can certainly get it. But what I found was that a lot of that help and support was really based on the physical and emotional needs that that they can expect from their child. Where there was a void was on character building, on building good basic characters in your life, characteristics, so that you can pass that on to your child as a family unit. So for me, that was the void that I found. There's plenty of information out there on how do you decide between bottle feeding and breastfeeding. How do you set up a nap schedule? What do you do with a colicky baby? But what seemed to be missing is, okay, how am I going to build character in my life while parenting and then pass it on to my child? How do I model it? So that's what the book ABCs for Mommy is about. Okay,
and once again, ABCs for Mommy, part of the Young Parenting series. Juliann Mangino with me tonight to talk about this. So the clear target for this book are the teen moms themselves, not grandmothers or teachers or anybody else. It's really about getting the teen moms themselves to be able to sit down and read the book. How difficult is that to accomplish?
Well, so far, the book's been out about 4 months now, and it hasn't been as difficult as it seems because a lot of these programs I speak of are embracing it and wanting the book to use in workshops and across-the-table counseling, face-to-face interviewing. So they are using the book as a supplement to what they already have, in fact, and it's a consumable book. So it's meant for the student or the young parent because, and I say that because a lot of agencies have been saying to me, this really isn't just for teen parents. This is for any young parent or any parent. What parent doesn't need motivated from time to time on how to build character in their lives? But as a consumable book, then, it can serve as a self-help guide. A young student who wants to help themselves, who wants to persevere and go and move forward with goals, can purchase this book and actually walk through it, write through it, because there's journal pages. I introduced that as a concept for keeping your life in line, writing new goals every 3 months and reaching those goals. And then what do you do when you reach those goals? You write new ones, okay, for the next 3 months. So short-term goals work best for many of us because they're not so far-fetched that we're not going to get there.
Right.
Yeah, so it actually is fallen into the hands of, say, family and consumer science classes, adult role classes in schools. Several school districts have purchased it, as well as, like I said, the home parenting network of agencies and social service groups as well.
What would you say to people who have a concern that writing a book like this that to help teen parents may backfire and then actually encourage more teens to become pregnant, believing, well, I can do this, I can take care of this, I can make this thing work, and my goodness, there are books like this one, ABCs for Mommy, to make it possible.
Yeah, I don't think this in any way glorifies or encourages teen parenthood. In fact, it's written for those that are pregnant or parenting, and it highlights that. In fact, it may in fact do the opposite, because there's what I call encouragement pages that are interspersed throughout the book. Those encouragement pages are words directly spoken from former teen parents who are grown adults now, and one of them is a grandparent. But they tell their story of how difficult it was and the challenges and struggles. And those difficulties and struggles are not easy to read either. You know, it's difficult to put yourself in that. So it may do just the opposite. Okay.
Well, when it comes to teen pregnancy and teen motherhood, with your experience in studying this issue, what percentage of these young girls would you say wanted to get pregnant as compared to engaged in risky behavior that resulted in a pregnancy?
Well, I don't know that that's really even a fair assessment for me to make, because once I begin working with my students across the table, the situation's already there. You know, they are pregnant. So we're really looking at the here and now and moving forward. No longer do we look at the past and what they've done, because from this point on, they need to make some stronger, more mature decisions, and that's really where the counseling begins. And we move forward. How
receptive are these young people to this advice and counsel and direction that you give, not only in person, one-on-one, but through this book?
Well, very receptive, actually. I've given this book to my students before the end of the school year this year, and I call my students every week, and I've asked them, did you read the book, and what are you working on? So we actually go back and forth in our conversation, and it's a great conversation starter, especially for counselors, because you could springboard off of any one of the topics, any one of the characteristics, and discuss how are you strengthening that in your life, and how are you building that in, and how is your child embracing that. So it really has been very well.
What about a book for grandparents, if you will? The parents of the young parent now. People who are listening right now may have children. The children, nieces that are now new parents, nephews that have gotten a girl pregnant. They want to do the responsible thing. Is this something that could be beneficial to somebody in their 30s and 40s dealing with a teen pregnancy?
Oh, absolutely. But it's funny you should mention that as grandparents, because the word's part of a young parenting series. This is the first of that. The next one I've already begun working on, ABCs for Daddy. And then the third one, plans are to be ABCs for grandparents, because our household function has changed so much. It's not like it was 30 years ago. It's much extended family. So grandparents, which oftentimes for teen parents are young themselves, but they're very much involved in the raising of a child. So that will be part of the series. But this book, I've had people purchase it individually for new parents in their 20s. Whether it's a dad or the mother, because, again, the information as far as characteristics and character building is very head-on. There's nothing specific about, I can't do that character because I'm not a mom. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's
right.
Yeah, it's not. It's more generalized.
I'm guessing that there are some new moms that you encounter and deal with at times that are feeling as though they're just so overwhelmed that it's something that they can't deal with, that it's going to overtake them. And is that something that you do come across?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think probably the biggest obstacle for young teen moms, and again, it would depend on their age, whether they're 15 or 18 makes a big difference. But for the young mom, it's very difficult for them to be able to balance their roles now, because they're a mother, they're a teenager, they're a daughter, oftentimes they're a sister, and they have to, and a friend. They have to blend all of those roles and somehow balance it, knowing that motherhood has to come first and everything else follows after that. So that's probably their biggest obstacle and challenge for us when we talk weekly. And a lot of times that's what it's about, is calming our nerves and understanding, we need to set our goals short and reach them and keep moving forward. And that's part of the book. The ABCs for Mommy motivates them, hey, you can do this. You can persevere. So, the situation's here. Now we have to move forward.
You said that there are other books. One that you're working on, ABCs for Daddy?
Yes.
How much different are the issues that a young father faces as compared to a young mother?
Well, the issues aren't they're that diverse. It's not that they're that different, but I think I need to twist it a little bit and make it a little testosterone more driven, where they take a different role as a mother. But there are different roles. Fathers play a much different role. They play with their children different than mothers play, which is important. A child needs to see both of those types. So that will definitely be talked about. But even a father's way of dressing a baby is very different than a mother's way, and that is okay. And that's talked about in the book. You don't need to do what the mother does. You just need to do it.
There you go. Yeah. It's interesting. I think back to when Rachel was little, and the way my wife would carry her, completely different than the way that I oftentimes would carry her. I like carrying her like a football.
Yeah.
Kind of like tuck her under your arm kind of thing, and off you go.
But at least you carried her.
Yeah, I carried her, right.
Yeah.
And when it was my job to burp her after she ate, and it was oftentimes I was described as, like a father patting a gorilla, a baby gorilla, But I did it.
Exactly. I know.
And she survived. She's now 18 years old. It isn't as though any great harm came.
That's right, and that's the point that will be made in ABCs for Daddy, is I don't want the dads to compare themselves to moms, because you have two different roles.
When it comes to the book ABCs for Mommy, was there anything that was difficult for you in putting this together?
Probably the most difficult is having to cut off because I kept wanting to put more information and write more things. But I intentionally tried to keep it straight and to the point, because again, what I found in working with the young parents is that they need quick, powerful bits of information, and they've gotten used to that through IM or instant messaging and Facebook and texting. Everything is quick and it's here and they got it.
Right.
So I purposely made the book where it's straight to the point, and there's even power lessons in there for them to encourage them. But that's the reason why I did that. So the hardest thing for me was to scale it down and not put as much information as maybe, it could be a 300-page book, but I knew that they wouldn't want to pick that up.
Yeah, and the book is about 100 pages. And I have to admit, it's a real simple, easy read, but it's interesting that each one of the sections that you go through, and you kind of go through it like in alphabetical order, ABC, just like the ABCs for Mommy all the way through.
Correct.
And so much of it is like, it's easy, it's easily digestible, it's an easy read, but at the same time, it's very thought-provoking.
Right. Thank you for that. But it is, and that's what I was hoping. That's what I was striving for, because that's what the young parents need. They need something quick. And there's some history in there, too, so I'm hoping they get a little bit of everything.
Now, I'm guessing they can find the book online at all the usual places?
Yeah, all the usual places online. If you do a Google search, it'll come up, but they have it at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and also Lulu, Lulu, Lulu.com.
ABCs for Mommy, part of the Young Parenting series. Julie, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Robert.
Great talking to you.
You too.
All right, 9:46. Once again, ABCs for Mommy, part of the Young Parenting series. And Juliann Mangino, the author of the book, yes, we are related, and proud to say it. I do encourage you to go and check it out for yourself. If you have a teen mom in your life, your daughter, your granddaughter, a young parent, 20s, 30s, and think that, this could be beneficial for them, then, my goodness, definitely look it up for yourself. Like I said, about 100 and some pages, very easy read, and I'm sure that she will enjoy it. All right, stick around. More to come. 866-391-1020.